What up, guys? So today I'm going to be talking about the AWS outage that affected the whole internet community. I believe it was this past Monday, which was, oh, you know what? Let me see. Oh, here we go. So it happened on the 20th of October 2025, right? So as you know, if you guys are kind of dark to the situation, on October 20th, a lot of the internet services went down for major companies, and anybody who hosted their services on the AWS cloud infrastructure specifically got hit. The word out there was that it was hacked, which through my through my digging through and investigation, that's not the case. It was actually a bug in the DNS software that wasn't returning the proper IP addresses to the domain. So I want to explain exactly what a domain system is, right? What is a DNS? Let me see. So a DNS, or the domain name system, is the internet's phone book that translates human-friendly domain names like google.com into numeric IP addresses that computers use to identify each other on a network. When you type a website's address into your browser, DNS servers work behind the scenes to quickly find the correct IP address, allowing your device to connect to the website. So again, right? Let's see if we can get a little image right here that will explain it. How does DNS work? So yeah, so it's pretty self-explanatory. So the DNS computers are like, they store the actual physical name. So for example, google.com, and then it'll translate the google.com into an IP address. So computers communicate through IP addresses only. They don't it doesn't ask a server, can you return me the website google.com? No, 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 no. So Google, your computer talks to a DNS server, this one in the middle, and then it translates that to the IP address that it has in its database, and then that IP address is the one that sends you the internet content, right? So let's read this quick article right here, real quick. So it's by Al Jazeera. Let me see, what caused Amazon's AWS outage, and why did so many major apps go offline? So I'm gonna give you an example. So let's just say that Jack in the Box hosts all their web content on the AWS infrastructure, right? So if that goes down, so that means you can use their main web page on on a desktop browser. You can use the app on your phone. So all that content is down. And what made this outage so significant is that we figured out that so many companies do use this specific cloud service provider, which is Amazon, right? AWS, Amazon Web Services. So companies like, I believe, Reddit were down, Signal was down, a bunch of major companies were down, and it actually showed that that people do over rely on one specific service cloud provider. Other companies obviously weren't affected because they use either they either own they either have their own servers and or use other domain hosting services that run server stacks outside of the AWS environment, right? So, for example, Twitter didn't go down. The reason for that is because Twitter has their own server database, I believe, in Memphis, which they also use for the Grok AI. So they host a lot of their services on infrastructure outside that's not AWS. So that's why a lot of companies, like, again, X didn't go down, Google didn't go down. Google also has their own server database center, right? So let's read this real quick. So, a major outage at the Amazon Web Services on Monday disrupted a large portion of the internet, taking down apps, websites, and online tools used by millions of people around the world. Before services were eventually restored, the hours long breakdown of the cloud system that supports a portion of the internet revealed just how much of modern life depends on the infrastructure, from banking apps and airlines to smart home devices and gaming platforms. I believe Alexa went down as well, so that's what it was probably talking about. I think Twitch might have got affected, so that's what it was probably talking about, the gaming platform. What happened and what caused the AWS outage? At about 07:11 GMT, Amazon's cloud service experienced a major outage, meaning some of its systems stopped working, which disrupted many popular apps and websites, including banks, gaming platforms, and entertainment services. The problem started in one of AWS main data centers in Virginia, its oldest and biggest site. After a technical update to the API, a connection between a different computer programs of DynamoDB, a key cloud database service that stores user information and other data from many online platforms. The root cause appears to have been an error in the update that affected the domain name system, which helps apps find the correct server address. A DNS works like the internet's phone book, turning websites' names into numeric IP addresses that computers use to connect to the servers. So again, the speculation was that Amazon got hacked, but obviously that wasn't the case. So what happened was, I guess, that they updated some database, and doing so, that made it incapable of working with the current DNS software that's connected, right? And that happens all the time. Sometimes when you update software, it's incompatible sometimes with other software that it's trying to communicate with. So that's what caused the error here. So I guess the updating of the DynamoDB made it incompatible to talk to the domain name servers, and that's why there was the outage. Where, again, it brought down the AWS infrastructure. So again, it wasn't a hack. It was this issue, right? So let's go here. So as you can see here, we're seeing the data centers, right, in the United States, and I guess they have them all over the world as well. But the one that was the main issue was this one right here, and I guess this one, like the article said, it's the oldest and biggest one that they have. So I'm assuming a lot of the major companies host their web content on this data center. So I mean, the solution to this problem, in my opinion, should be distributing the content of major companies throughout other data centers, just so if one goes down, the other one will pick up the slack. And just by the looks of it, there's about what, 4 on the East Coast. Let's see if I can move this. Oh, it's not getting out. Let me click on here. All right. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 data centers on the East Coast. I'm surprised they weren't able to pick up the slack, or they didn't duplicate the content or distribute it throughout the data centers, just in case something like this would happen. Or the bug on the DynamoDB software, which again communicates with the DNS, was just a system-wide thing. Like it would have happened anywhere. You know what I mean? Honestly, so that could have been the situation as well. So again, let me see. I know there's. Oh wow, let me see. U.S. No, there's really only one in California. Thought there'd be a lot more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's one in Mexico, 7, and then there's some in the northern hemisphere. Or, I mean, that definitely doesn't look like China. So it's maybe showing the other side of the world. This is still North America. I don't know why it's showing these data centers. That would be a weird place to have them anyway, all the way up in northern Canada, unless you're trying to keep the data centers cool, but that doesn't make sense to have them all the way up there. But yeah, like I said, guys, so at the end of the day, it wasn't a hack. So I don't know why people were spreading that rumor around. So again, it was a server bug that caused it. Alright, guys, so that's my opinion on this video. I wanted to drop this video on the subject because I mean, I've seen other videos where I can see a dude literally just reading something off an AI prompt or something. Like, it just didn't seem genuine. It didn't seem like it was his opinion on the subject. It just seemed like the dude was just reading something off like a prompt, like when people do on on news stations, and I'm like, you know what, I want to drop my opinion on this situation, and I want it to come from me. Uh, I've been doing cybersecurity work for a couple years now, so more and more, the more you do it, the more bug bounty you start doing, the more you start understanding the way that the internet works and how it's all interconnected, the different kinds of software that run on it. It really is a fragile thing, and if one part doesn't work, it could affect a whole other part. I mean, it's that simple. All right, guys, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe, check out my other videos. I got other content on cybersecurity related stuff, and I will be releasing videos on more interesting cybersecurity news that happens, and I will be giving my opinion of what I think happened. And if not, I'll definitely dig deep into the subject and see if we can find a root cause of whatever the issue is. All right, guys, thank you.